Now in today's video lecture, we will go through hybridization that involve d orbitals, right? Till now, before this video lecture, we were doing hybridization that involved only s and p orbitals, right? Now we'll be looking into hybridization that will involve d orbitals as well, right? So the first thing that comes to our mind is, what are these elements, right, that will undergo hybridization involving d orbitals, right? So the elements must be containing d orbitals, right? So if you look into the periodic table, elements that belong to the third period of the periodic table will have d orbitals, right? Before that, first and second period does not have d orbitals, right? So elements that belong to the third period, right, only these elements will have d orbitals, right? Only these elements will have d orbitals. Why? If you look at this, n is equals to 3 for period 3, because for period 3 all the elements of period 3 will have 3 subshells. I'm sorry, it will have 3 shells, right? For the maximum third shell, n is equals to 3, right? So we would be dealing only with outer shell electronic configurations, right, in hybridization. So n is equals to 3, L is equals to 0 to n minus 1, that is 0 to 3 minus 1 equal to 0, 1, 2, right? It would be L is equals to 0, 1, 2. So S, P, D, right? So starting from third period, elements will contain d orbitals, right? So elements like sulfur, phosphorus, right, will have sp3 d hybridization, right, in certain compounds like PCl5, PF5 and your SF6 compounds, right? So let's quickly look at the hybridization. Okay, the types of hybridization that contains d orbitals is sp3d hybridization, sp3d2, sp3d3, then there is one hybridization dsp2 hybridization, right? So the types of hybridization would be sp3d, sp3d2, then you have sp3d3, you have dsp2 hybridization, right? So it's 3d orbital, right? Third shell will contain 3d orbital, right? So before this you have 3s, 3p, after this you have 4s, 4p, right? The energies of one thing in hybridization, only those orbitals that have nearly same energy will undergo hybridization, or only those orbitals will mix and merge to form hybrid orbitals that have nearly same energy, right? So energies of 4s and 4p is nearly same as that of 3d, right? Similarly, energies of 3s and 3p is nearly same as 3d, right? So orbitals in these types of hybridization, you will see orbitals involved are 3d, 4s, 4p, or 3s, 3p, 3d, right? I'll just write two sets. Either it is 3s, 3p, 3d, right, or 3d, 4s, 4p, right? These are the kind of orbitals that would be involved in these hybridizations, right? But this is possible, but if I write 3s, or let's write 3p, 3d, then 4s, this is not possible, because energy gap between 3p and 4s is significant, right? Energy gap is more between 3p and 4s, so this is not possible, right? Now let's quickly take the example of PF5 phosphorus pentafluoride to understand sp3 dehybridization, right? So the central atom phosphorus in PF5 have sp3 dehybridization, right? So we'll be using the same concepts, first electronic configuration, then excited state electronic configuration, right? How will we reach at excited state electronic configuration? By promotion, right, from filled orbital to empty d orbitals, right? And just to recap, how many d orbitals we have? We have 5 d orbitals, right? And these are dx square minus y square, dz square, dxy, dyz and dxz, right? So dxy, dyz, right, and dxz. So these are the orbitals that would be involved in hybridization. We have 5 d orbitals, and orbitals denote orientation in space, right? So PF5, let's write down the electronic configuration, ground state electronic configuration of phosphorus. It's 1s2, 2s2, 3s2, 3px2, 3py1, 3pz1, right? So now excited state electronic configuration. Why we say excited state and how this excited state comes? When the fluorine atoms will approach phosphorus atom, right? When both these atoms, fluorine and phosphorus, will approach one another, will come near one another, it would be an attractive interaction, right? So energy would be released due to this attractive interaction, right? And this energy would be used to promote an electron from filled orbital to empty d orbital, right? So excited state electronic configuration as a result of energy released by the approach of these atoms would be, it would be 1s2, 2s2, right? So electron from filled 3s orbital, right, would be promoted to 5d z square orbital, right? So it would be 3s1, right? So one electron, since it's promoted to the z orbital, it's 1, I'm sorry, it's 1, 3px1, 3px1, 3py1, 3pz1, right? Then you have 3dz square 1, right? dz square orbital is involved in sp3 dehybridization, right? So this is your excited state electronic configuration, right? In the ground state, you can see you have 3 half filled orbitals, right? So you, from this configuration, ground state electronic configuration, the compound possible between phosphorus and fluorine is your PF3, right? But in order to form PF5, right, you need excited state electronic configuration when an electron is moved from 3s orbital to 3dz orbital, right? So now these orbitals 3s and these 3p orbitals and 1d orbital will undergo hybridization like this. It would be like this. This is 3s, right, 3px, 3py, 3pz, x, y, z, right? Then you have one more z orbital, 3dz square 1, right? Now all these 5, you have only one here, because one is promoted to 3dz square orbital. So all these 5 orbitals will undergo hybridization, that is, all these 5 orbitals will mix and merge, right, and redistribute their energy Why will they redistribute their energy? So that all 5d orbitals that will form will have same energy, right? So all these will undergo hybridization, right? That is, they will mix and redistribute energy, right? And they will form set of right. This is how 1 2 3 4 5. So these are sp3d orbitals, sp3d orbitals, right? So these 5 orbitals sp and d, 5 spd orbitals, there is 1s plus 3p and 1d, 1s, 3p and 1d orbital. All these will mix and merge, will hybridize to form set of 5 sp3d orbitals, right? And these orbitals, all these orbitals we know will have same energy and shape, right? And would be directed, these 5 orbitals would be directed towards the corners of a penta. All these 5 orbitals would be directed towards the 5 corners of a pyramidal, right? The name of the pyramidal shape is, it's trigonal bipyramidal, right? These 5 orbitals are directed towards, these are directed towards 5 corners of a trigonal pyramidal, trigonal bipyramidal, right? And how it looks like, it would be like this. Here is your phosphorus atom, right? You have 5 fluorine atoms, right? Okay, you have these 5 sp3 hybrid orbitals, right? Now each of these 5 sp3 hybrid orbital will overlap with pyz orbital of fluorine atom, right? If you look at the electronic configuration of fluorine, it is 1s2, 2s2, 2px1, 2px2, 2py2, 2pz1, right? So you have one empty pz orbital. This empty pz orbital will overlap with each of these 5 sp3d orbitals, right, to form pf5 molecules, right? Now let's look at the geometry. Phosphorus atom is the central atom, right? And the shape is trigonal bipyramidal, right? It has 5 corners, right? 3 corners are in one plane, like this, right? 3 corners are in one plane, right? And 2 corners are perpendicular to this plane, like this, right? This is how your trigonal bipyramid looks like, like this. This is how it looks like, right? You have fluorine here, here, here. All these 3 fluorine atoms are in one plane. They are in the plane of this central phosphorus atom, and 2 are perpendicular to the plane, right? These 2 are perpendicular to the plane. Now these are equatorial atoms, these are equatorial fluorine atoms. So the bonds joining phosphorus to this bonds joining phosphorus and these equatorial fluorine are your equatorial bonds, right? And the bonds joining phosphorus to these two fluorine atoms which are perpendicular to this plane, right, are your axial bonds. These are axial fluorine atoms. These are axial points in trigonal bipyramid, right, or axial corners. So the fluorine atoms occupying these two perpendicular corners of trigonal bipyramidal are your axial bonds, are your axial atoms, right? And the bonds joining these axial atoms to central atom are your axial bonds, right? So these are axial bonds, right? And these are your equatorial bonds, right? And other important thing is the angle between equatorial bonds, right, and axial bonds is different, right? Here this is your 120-degree angle, right, and the angle between equatorial and axial bonds is 90-degree, right? Angle between equatorial and axial bond is your 90-degree. If you look at this angle would be 90-degree, right? And this angle between equatorial bonds is 120-degree, and angle between equatorial bond and this axial bond is 90-degree, right? 120-degree, 90-degree. That means all the angles, that means the bond between angle, that means the angle between all the bonds are not same, right? Due to which the molecule of PF5 that have sp3 hybrid orbitized or sp3 hybridization, sp3d2 hybridization, does not have a regular geometry, right? This has an irregular geometry. So due to this irregular geometry, this molecule is little unstable, right? And the other thing that you can see is, since the bond angles are different, right, the bond lengths, that is the axial bonds and the length of equatorial bonds are different, right? Since in this geometry these axial fluorine atoms, right, these axial fluorine atoms will undergo maximum repulsion, right? So when they will undergo maximum repulsion, they will occupy these corners of the trigonal bipyramid, right? So they are repelled to a larger distance. These fluorine atoms are repelled to a larger distance by these equatorial bond pairs, right? Due to which these bonds will become little longer compared to equatorial bonds, right? So axial bonds is greater than equatorial bonds, right? Axial bonds are greater than your equatorial bonds, right? So since axial bonds are longer, they are bigger than equatorial bonds, so we know that longer bonds are weaker bonds, right? So this is your weaker bonds, right? How many weaker bonds we have? 2 bonds, right? So due to the presence of these 2 weaker bonds, the molecule of PF5 is reactive, right? Why? Because it can easily dissociate into PF3 plus fluorine, right? Same is with PCl5. PCl5 phosphorus pentachloride will also have the same geometry, right? And they also have these longer axial bonds, right? Due to which the axial bonds, since they are longer, so they are weaker, so these bonds will easily break to form PF3 and F2. That is why phosphorus pentachloride and phosphorus pentafluorides are reactive molecules, right? So I hope this is clear. Now we'll be jumping to another type of hybridization containing d orbitals, right? That is your sp3d2 hybridization, right? So in sp3d2 hybridization, we'll take the example of SF6 molecule, right? SF6 molecule. We'll go through sp3d2 hybridization, right? Example we'll be taking is SF6 molecule. Sulfur. Sulfur also belongs to the third period of the periodic table, right? And its ground state electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3px1, x2, 3py1 and 3pz1, right? This is the ground state electronic configuration of sulfur atom. Now the second point as per hybridization is we'll be looking into excited state electronic configuration of sulfur atom, right? And in excited state electronic configuration we'll be looking at outer shell configuration, that is 3s2, 3px2, 3py1, 3pz1, right? And it has empty d orbitals. How many empty d orbitals? 5 d orbitals. So the orbitals that would be involved in this type of hybridization would be dx square minus y square and dz square, right? These two orbitals would be involved. So we'll just write down the electronic configuration, the excited state electronic configuration. It would be 3s2, then you have 3px2, then you have 3py1, then you have 3pz1, right? Now we say that electron from 3s orbital and 3px orbital would be promoted to 3x square minus y square and 3dz square orbital, right? Empty d orbital. So it would be one electron will move from 3s2 and the other electron will move from 3px2, right? 3px orbital. So it would be one electron in dx square minus y square and one electron in dz square. How many we have now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? We have 6 singly filled orbitals, right? In which you can see you have one s orbital, 3s orbital, right? Because one electron was shifted from 3s orbital, right? And 3 are 3px, 3py, 3pz, right? S plus 3p plus you have dx square minus y square, dz square, 2p, right? So all these will hybridize, right? All these 5 orbitals will mix and merge and will redistribute their energy so that each of the orbitals or each of the newly generated sp3d2 orbitals will have same energy. That is why they redistribute their energy, because each of the orbitals should have same energy, right? It will form sp3d2 hybridization, right? And this is how you will show 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are sp3 d2 hybrid orbitals, right? 5 sp3 d2 hybrid orbitals. 5 sp3 d2 hybrid orbitals. Now each of these 5 singly filled orbitals will undergo overlapping with fluorine atom, right? With fluorine atom that has empty 3pz orbital as per this configuration. Electronic configuration of fluorine is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3px2, 3py2, 3pz1. Right? This is your electronic configuration for fluorine, and you can see fluorine atom has one half-filled orbital, 3pz orbital. Now this 3pz orbital will overlap with each of these singly filled sp3d2 orbitals of sulfur atom, right? And it would be the geometry of this molecule would be, since it has sp3d2 hybridization, it would be octahedral, right? The geometry of this hybridization is octahedral. So all the 6 orbitals will occupy the corners of a regular octahedron, right? So the molecule will acquire a regular octahedral geometry. Due to sp3d2 hybridization, molecule is SF6 will acquire sp3 will acquire regular octahedral geometry. Let's see how it looks like. You should know how to draw it. In regular octahedral, 4 corners would be occupied by a square, right? 4 corners, 4 SF bonds, or what we say is 4 orbitals are in the same plane, right, and are directed towards the corners of a square. It would be like this. It would be like this, right? And 2 would be, 4 are in the same plane, right? 4 orbitals would be in the same plane, which are directed towards the corners of the square, right? And 1 would be above the plane, right? And 1 would be below the plane. 1 would be above the plane and 1 would be below the plane, right? This is how it will look like. You can join it like this. Right? This is how it looks like. This is a regular octahedron, right? Octahedron has 6 corners, right? 4 corners are in one plane. These 4 corners are in one plane. So 4 fluorine atoms will occupy these 4 corners, right? Because 4 orbitals are at these 4 corners. 4 hybrid orbitals lie at the corners of this square, right? And 2 orbitals lie, one perpendicular to the plane, perpendicular to this plane, and perpendicular to the plane above, and one perpendicular to the plane below, right? So these are 6 hybrid orbitals, and fluorine atoms would be occupying these corners of the regular octahedron, right? This is how the geometry looks like. Right? And the angle, if you look at the angle between the bonds, right? The angle between the bonds is 90 degree, right? So this molecule has a regular geometry, right, compared to PF5, right? This molecule is symmetrical and is stable and less reactive. Since it's stable, so it would be less reactive, right? So this is done. All the bonds will have same angle. If you notice, bonds in case of this geometry was different. Between these equatorial bonds, the angle was 120, and between equatorial and axial bond, the angle was 90, right? So that makes it irregular geometry, right? That makes its geometry irregular, so it's unstable. But in case of sp3d2, all the orbitals are directed towards the corners of an octahedron, right? And the angle, all the angles would be same, right? Due to which it's symmetric. The molecule is symmetrical and is more stable, right? Due to its symmetrical structure, right? So this is it. We are done with this. So we have 4 SF bonds that are in the same plane at right angles to one another, right? The other 2 lie at right angles above and below.